Steven, Postman Fro was here earlier, and I didn't open the box. Should we open it live? And by live, I mean recorded.
We'll do it live.
What if it's something secret? We'll just have to cut it, right?
I don't know if I have that power, Jared.
All right, let me get into the box. Hold on.
It's really hard to cut things out of a podcast. I'll tell you that. Takes
Can you
a
hear
really
that?
long time. I hear it.
I'm ruffling through the box.
Okay. You're gonna give me a middle finger, aren't you?
That's funny, Steven. I didn't even think about that. Here it is. It looks like Canon sent us a box that has already been used.
R5C. Finally, we've been asking for that since it was announced.
They're like, "Oh, we didn't think you wanted that. Oh, we didn't think you wanted to play with the cinema photo camera."
Can we just send the R5s back and take the R5C? I will say, it's not even really needed anymore for us because that latest firmware update really did fix the overheating.
Yeah, we haven't
We don't
put
even
the
put
fans on
anymore. Yeah.
Except if Steven's standing close by, radiating
It goes
heat,
up an extra like 20 degrees.
Yeah, maybe that's the only thing. But yeah, we've been waiting to get an R5C for a while here at the studio, and they've just been selling what they've had, and so we finally got one here. That's what Postman Fro brought, and we'll try it. I mean, I want to see how thick it is. I know.
It's a thick boy. There's a couple C's on that one.
How many?
Like 5, maybe
5?
6. It's thick. I wonder how they're selling. I would still think a lot of people are just going for the R5 because most people are probably hybrid shooters of some sort, but I don't know.
I hate that term.
Well, because you really do only photography.
No, I mean, I shoot video. Clearly, I have a whole, business around video. But
yeah, but I do all the video.
You do, but I do some.
I will say when I'm doing an actual photography gig, I am pretty much strictly doing stills. I'm not really switching between the two.
I mean, Steven, look at the
Hold on,
thickness.
I gotta go. Oh wow!
Look at that.
That thing sticks out almost as far as the EVF.
It's literally just.
We're looking at the giant fan on the back.
I know you guys can't see this, but I'm gonna put this to the side because we'll save that for later. I'll pick
it up tomorrow when I'm in.
Are you coming in tomorrow?
Yeah, we discussed this.
We did?
We did.
I know, I'm kidding. I know you'll be in tomorrow. You'll be in tomorrow. You were here. I thought maybe my dad was calling, but it's another spam call. Nope. Holy Redeemer. Why would the hospital be calling me?
I don't know.
You think that's spam? I'm not even going to answer it. Screw you, Holy Redeemer. I don't even know why you're calling me.
I've always said if it's important, they'll leave a voicemail.
Right. We'll wait to see if it's the voicemail. Oh, shit. What if someone got hurt and they're at the Holy Redeemer Hospital? Fuck.
That's scary.
Shit. Damn it. I already hung up on them. Oh, I hope I'm
you'll
not
find out in about 90 minutes when we're done the podcast.
I'll find out. Shit, dude. That's terrible. I hope they leave a voicemail like, "Hi, you're I don't even want to say it.
I'm sure everything's fine.
So I opened the box. Do you know what kind of pisses me off?
In the box.
Remember when you were here yesterday and the guy was like, I got that email.
I was there 2 days ago.
You weren't here yesterday?
No, I was editing the iPhone video yesterday.
Oh. Yeah, we'll talk about that in a minute. But I got that email, and it's like, we want to buy your property. Are you still not interested in selling your property? We've got a local business that wants to put an office in there. And it's just like, do you not realize that I work out of this property, you fucking asshole? Like, this is a guy I told to fuck off in the past because they try to get you. They're like, do you want to sell your property? I'm like, make me an offer. Make me an offer. Don't ask me if I want to sell my property. Come to me and say, I'm going to offer you twice as much in cash as what your property is worth, and I'll consider it and still say no. Because this property is probably worth... Go ahead.
I mean, it's just going to keep going up and up. But I've literally had realtors come to the door, knock on my door, and ask if I'm selling the house and if I would. And I don't know what they would offer, but I've had a neighbor down the street literally sell his house within a month because they had the same situation happen with them where I guess a realtor's client, they liked that one specifically and literally offered them cash for the house and they moved out within a month.
Which is insane.
It is. I think unless I got offered maybe double over asking, I would think about it, but I just...
The problem is, where are you going to go?
That's the issue. Unless you have a second property, it's really not feasible in this market.
In my case, I just have to choose between the other three, Steven. No, I did.
One of my 7 properties.
Well, I could consider it. See, the thing is, with the Fro Factory 2 next to my house, that is a viable option, but I have no reason to sell this place at this time. There's no reason. I've always said that for property, you really, unless you're forced to sell, unless you're a forced seller, then there's no reason to just sell. Just sit on it.
I agree.
Or I could rent it to someone else if I ever wanted to do that. That's what I do with the first property. I rent that.
Are you thinking about selling that first property at this point?
No. Not
Okay.
right now,
Gotcha.
but that would be more on the table than Fro Factory original,
Sure.
than the one I'm sitting at. I would sell the current one, but why would I sell it when I have a renter in there paying the rent and paying the mortgage? Basically.
Oh, I agree. Yeah. Have they ever have they asked if you would sell
We've discussed.
Okay.
What's cool about the woman that lives there with her boyfriend is she's in finance, so she knows investing. She also owns some buildings and has renters. So she was a good renter to pick because she understands what it's like to have renters.
Yeah.
So she owns other properties. So yeah, we talked about it. They asked if I would ever be interested in selling at some point. And I said, probably at some point. Would it be a cash offer? We could discuss it. At some point, we could discuss it.
When I rented, this is going back a few years, I was the best tenant ever. I would just, if something broke, I would fix it myself. I would never ask my landlord for really any help. I mean, I'm talking minor things, not like the dishwasher breaking or something like that. But I would fix everything and not ever ask him for help.
Do you know, since we didn't actually talk about this is interesting. We're talking about property values. Last week, we were going to talk about the taxes. We didn't talk about that, did we?
Like property taxes?
Well, yeah, property taxes in Philly. So Philly, so by the way, this is Raw Talk episode number 17, where we sit down and have discussions with Steven and I,
Whoops.
and we talk about whatever. We're not. Anyway, before I get to that, 313-710-9729. You can call us anytime you want, and by call I mean send us a text message over there. And if you're listening to Raw Talk 17 and you have a new video that we put out a new video, or any video that you watch for this one, put out like hashtag Raw Talk 17 or something down there, like hashtag Raw Talk is the greatest thing ever since sliced bread, period.
I text
That's
that to the text line every day.
No, that's not. I don't want that on the text. I want that on like a recent video. But anyway, back to the taxes thing. So in Philly, they sent out new assessments on people's property values.
Sure.
And you know, of course, property values go up and you pay more taxes based off of your property value. The problem is they haven't raised the assessments in a long time. And so some people's properties have gone slightly down in value, and then others have gone up, and then others have like tripled, and they want to triple your tax burden.
Yep.
So for my
Give
new
me
house,
more money.
Yeah, for my new house, which is 130 plus years old, I opened the tax assessment. Did I tell you what how much it went up?
No, we didn't discuss this at all.
We didn't discuss this, you and I?
Not that I'm aware of.
So what do you think the plus number is? How much over the last assessment do you think
This is which
the
house?
new assessment? The
one you live in.
newest one. Yes, the one I live in.
Okay.
Property number, it was number
17.
3. It was property number 3 of 4.
I'm going to guess it's 200 over what it was before.
Plus $600,000.
Jesus.
So my taxes are going to go from I should tell you, yes, it's plus 600,000. So originally it was like 550,000 was what they assessed it at, and now it's $1.1 million assessment. So my taxes go from 8,000 to 16,000 in one fell swoop. Now,
and that's Philly taxes too. If you were in my town, man, you would be paying 30 grand easy.
Yeah. Well, the thing here with this isn't gloating or anything. Look at me. Look at
all my money and my properties.
Look at what it's going to cost me. This is thank you presets.
You're welcome, Jared.
Thank you, Frono's Photo Beginner Guide to Getting Out of Auto, because that set me on the path to buy my first property.
Yes.
My issue is you can contest it. But it's like uniformity is one option, meaning do you think that it's priced wrong based off of what its value is? And the other is just other stuff. And it's like the problem is that's what it's valued at. I could sell it for more than that at this point, but that is like a legitimate value. And the problem is my main issue is it's fine if property values go up, but it should not be legal to raise taxes 100% in one fell swoop.
I agree.
It should be
incremental,
locked in
at
10%, 15%, at max 20%, which is what the max that a renter, an owner can raise the rent on their renters in some places. So how can you legitimately do that? So I may just check the box that say uniformity and write in there. I'm like, I have no problem with paying my taxes, what I owe, but you can't expect someone, you can't just double it in 1 year. And then someone said that recently, well, they paused it during the pandemic, so they're making up for the last 3 years, which would have been done. But you know what? No.
Well, how often do they do the assessment?
Because it's supposed to be every year.
My town definitely hasn't done it since I moved in, so it's been 3.5 years. And luckily at the time, that was kind of the market wasn't great, so my house got assessed at a low value. Well, what I bought it for, basically. But now, I'm 200 over what I bought it for in terms of market value. So if I got assessed again, I'm sure I would be in the same boat.
You probably would, the same BOAT.
Yeah, anyway, and our property taxes in my town are crazy compared to Philly.
Because of schools.
The school, yeah, it's a great district.
Yeah, I should finish up talking about this bullshit offer. So this guy reached out again and was like, yeah, we have a local company that wants to buy your property to put a business in there. And I'm like, and? I said, make an offer. I replied, make an offer. He didn't make an offer. I replied, but I sent him an email today. I said, where's that offer? Like, I'll be a dick because I hate these people because they always call you and like try to make you feel bad that you don't want to sell your property.
Right?
I'm like, what are you talking about, asshole?
You want me to
I'm
up and leave and grab my family and go somewhere else for the time being, like, because it's that easy?
And I love when I give them a number and they're like, oh, there's no way. Maybe we could do this. I'm like, yeah, no, not happening, bro. Mm-hmm. You want to give me $2 million for this property? Maybe I would consider it for the Fro Factory 1, because it's worth, if I put this on the market today, probably $1 million roughly for the Fro Factory, because it's got the plot of land and everything on the end, and a plot of land that's double deeded, so it's a double wide lot, is probably worth the proper
chunk of change.
It's probably 350 to 400,000 is what that might be worth. Now it's not as long as some other properties, so maybe it's 325 to 375. But that's just for that plot of ground that I could develop if I wanted.
For those that don't know what we're talking about, we call it the garden section right now at the factory. But essentially, you could sell that for 2 different plots.
Yeah, we totally could. You want to get into some photo stuff? I do have some other things to talk about that I'll get to. You know what? Let's talk about some mental health stuff, Steven.
Sure.
Pickleball. I played pickleball yesterday. So I joined a pickleball club. It's like $155 a year to join the club, and that gets you nothing other than the options to sign up earlier for pickleball courts. They don't even have, and you have to pay every time you play with people, but what they don't even offer you is water. They don't even have a water fountain in the fucking place. I'm like, guys, you got to put a water filtration system in. Like, how do you not have and they want you to buy, anyway, moral of the story. My brother is playing pickleball. I'm playing pickleball. We went on Sunday to play in the intermediate division, which is a mix of men and women. And they're all like, oh, take it easy on us. And we're like, we're brand new. Like, we're just trying to figure out where we fit in. And most of the people are in their 50s and 60s. So we played the intermediate. It was fine. We did fine. And then last night they had from 5:30 to 7:30 intermediate/advanced men. So it's just men, and we tried
Advanced
it, right?
Men.
We tried men last night. I wanted to get into position to get them to come in right in my face because that's the best spot to be in.
It's everything for you.
Yeah, Steven, I can't believe you would say something like that. How dare you? How dare you?
How dare you?
Dare you? Anyway, we played there, and one guy knew me. He's Dr. Markowitz. He knew me from my website, from Frono's Photo.
Sounds like a doctor's name.
There was a lot of doctors there, but it was a great time. I felt great. I sweated my ass off. It was competitive. I held my own for the most part. My brother did well, and when I left,
did you win, lose?
You win some and you lose some. So the way that it works is they put your name up on the board, and there's 8 courts, and your name rotate, like it's all randomized. So in one match you're playing on court 4 with 4 people. In the next match you're playing on court 8 with 4 other people, and you just play for 15 minutes each round, and because each game takes less than 15 minutes roughly, but it's great. Like, it was awesome. I left there and I felt accomplished. So it was like 9:40 when I was leaving, and it takes me 37 minutes to get home from there with no traffic. But I felt great because for me, the biggest issue I have mentally is when I have downtime. As you know,
yes.
I don't like downtime. I need constant activity, and that's why I fill my world with as many activities as possible. And the worst times for me have always been...
But you have to also want to do the activity.
That's correct. The worst times for me are usually like between 5 and 7, the before dinner part, and then that what am I supposed to do after dinner part, right? So that's just me. But playing from 7:30 to 9:30, and then coming home and maybe having 45 minutes to relax, but watch TV, then go to bed, and then wake up and work out with my trainer because today was leg day, Steven. It's Wednesday.
Oh, I know.
Leg day. That was all. I just felt good. And so for me, like I recommend for anybody out there, find activities that you enjoy and do them because it helps me with my mental state. And I don't know, I just felt really good after playing pickleball with all those people. Oh, go ahead.
Oh, I can talk now?
Yeah.
So what happened? What was the outcome last week? You kind of updated us on you calling them or writing them an email or something saying you get nothing for the $150 sign up. Did they ever say anything back?
Well, yeah, I showed them their FAQ section where it said
that was it.
That you got some stuff. I said, well, that was only when you signed up as a like when they were first opening. That was a special deal, which they haven't updated. Basically, the guy offered to either refund me or to work something out, which was fine, which just the offer is good enough, to actually engage and have that conversation. I still think that it should come with a certain amount of hours that you can play.
Something like a starter pack of some sort, two games, whatever.
Well, all it gives you really is the ability to sign up 5 or 6 days early for certain things so that they get, because there's like 20 spots for what we did yesterday. And if they all fill up before, if you can only do it the day before, then you may never get access. So basically you're paying for early access. But
to be a club member of some sort.
A club member, which is fine. And then when you play in the social, they call it's $15 on top, which is fine. Yeah. Which is fine. It was just great. I really loved it. Great sweat, great run. It was just a really good time. And then I was playing with this one guy. He kind of looked like Calvin Klein. He was 60, didn't look like 60. He was in great shape. But you know how in sports, you probably don't because you never played sports. I know you played Little League, but you weren't very good.
That was terrible.
Right? Yeah, but you know how you like in hockey, you slap someone on the ass, they do something good, you're like, good job.
Yeah.
Good hustle.
Yeah, baseball too.
Yeah, baseball. So there were a couple of times where, you would like smack paddles, that's their way of their high-fiving, and then I would cross in front of the guy, and I was expecting a smack in the ass with the paddle. And I finally said something to the guy. I was like,
it's a nice
I was
big
ready
target too.
No, I'm like, I walked by, I'm like, wasn't that the perfect time for you to smack me in the ass when I walked by? He's like, look, I've had to get out of doing that because when we play with the women, you got to be so careful today.
That's true.
I'm like, I totally get it.
He's not
but
wrong.
You're more than welcome to smack my ass because it's sports.
I'm giving you permission.
I'm giving you permission. If you want to smack my ass with the paddle when I go by and say, good job, I will take it and enjoy it.
These days you need it in writing.
Yeah. Oh, sorry. I would
Can
like to say,
you sign this piece of paper saying that I have permission to smack your ass
with a pickleball paddle if I make a good play.
So what does it look like when Jared loses in pickleball? Is it an angry like hit the floor and
No. I'm not going to break my racket. I'm not going to do that.
Okay.
I'm just going to be like, come on, fucker. Yell at myself.
You always yell at yourself. Yeah, you're like, man,
well, I yell at myself so other people.
You suck.
Do better. You suck, Jared. You fucking suck. Yeah, but that's it. But it was a really good time. We had some good matches. My brother and I actually got paired up on one of the courts, and we played these guys that were really good. We ended up beating them for one game because, I don't know, we had a good... We did. My brother and I are still learning the dinks and all that stuff. We'll get to the photography stuff, people. This is just raw talk.
Photo podcast?
We talk about stuff. No, but this is good to talk about. I think people enjoy it. I enjoy it, so I don't care what people think. This is what I'm going to do. But we had a really good match against these guys, and it was a good time. I mean, the eight cycles. It was really good. That's what I have to talk about.
Anything that makes you happy, man. Happy Jared means happy Steven.
Yeah. Well, I need those activities, as you know.
You do.
Okay, photo-related stuff. Last week, before we did the show, GoPro and DJI, within an hour of each other, dropped their latest action cameras. The GoPro Hero 11 and 11 Mini, as well as DJI Osmo 3. Thoughts, Steven? Thoughts?
I personally couldn't care less about these action-style cameras. Especially after trying out the Insta360 cameras recently, I really do like those 360 cameras. The fact that you can fully reframe your shot. I mean, it doesn't look great in terms of quality, but none of them do. The GoPro always looks like shit. The Osmo always looks like shit until they finally get a 1-inch sensor, which Sony finally did with their RX0 cameras, although it was very expensive, like double the price. I don't really care for it. I'm just going to use my phone at that point, unless I'm really doing extreme action sports where I can break my phone in the middle of doing that sport, that activity.
Well, I will say that GoPro's footage always looks great during their commercial, their YouTube videos.
Of course it does.
They always look fantastic. But we've gotten away. We haven't updated a GoPro since the 6, I think.
And the new GoPros, I think they're 10-bit now, 4K 60. I mean, it's getting better and better, but it's still very incremental changes. I mean, it's just like the iPhone. It's just subtle changes. But I don't know. I question how many people buy a GoPro these days, especially after how many iterations there's been since like the GoPro 2 or 3 when it really became popular.
I mean, now it has a larger sensor in terms of size, so it's like 7/8.
So it's got. I do find that interesting, where it's got the square sensor for reframing and de-squeezing and like almost square. The fact that you can now reframe your shot or do the horizon lock, which I also, again, Insta360 has that as well, where you can pretty much turn it 360 and it's locked on the horizon. I don't know. It's a hard sell for me personally.
If I had to choose between a GoPro and a DJI Osmo 3, I'm probably still going with the GoPro.
I agree.
Just because. And then the Mini, the Mini has the same features as, and we're not really going into details about this. You can find all the details in Photo News Fix, or you could find all the details, obviously go to GoPro's website. We don't need to go into the super detail about it. Because it really just works. The Mini basically doesn't have any screen, but any screens at all, but it has the same components. So you're going to get the same quality, except for the fact that it's a rechargeable battery and it's not a battery that comes out. It has fingers on the back and fingers on the bottom, which are the mounts.
I mean, it sounds like the square one they used to have. Right?
Well, that was called the...
What was that called?
Damn, I looked it up because I put it in the video yesterday.
I hated that thing.
It wasn't Contour, because Contour Cam was the original one. It's called the Session. The Hero Session.
Yeah, that's
it. The GoPro Hero 5 and Hero 6 Session. It was a big failure. It was like $599 they wanted for that little goddamn cube. And it sucked. And the battery life sucked.
Rechargeable battery, same thing. We had to pretty much keep it USB charged at all times because it would just die on us instantly.
Yeah, and in this day and age, we're using the 360 cameras from Insta360 a lot more. I mean, it doesn't hurt that they send them to us and they sponsor us for certain things.
Well, we actually kind of like using them, especially the 1-inch.
Well, I said that for the first time. I was like, well, I didn't understand 360 for a while, as I always said, but then the way that we utilize it ourselves for our particular needs, it's great to just set it during a shoot and give us some more space, give us some more content to use.
I will say the GoPro does have some mind-blowing stabilization. It really has been great since the release of like their 7 or 8, whatever it was, when it really became a thing. That stabilization, I feel like you can be jumping around and it looks like you're stable. Completely stable.
Jump around. But the Osmo, they said, is better in... you can dive down to 16 meters without an extra case. Because I was talking to Ari, our friend Ari, who's a diver, because he was asking about the camera. I'm like, I can't tell you which is going to be better. They're going to be very similar, and unless you're looking at them side by side, you won't notice much of a difference.
And the X3, the recent 360 one we did, does 33 meters.
Or feet.
No, it's meters.
33 meters?
I think.
Why don't you Google that, Steven?
Oh, man. Now am I wrong?
You may be wrong, and you're going to keep it in there. You will keep it in there if you're wrong.
Definitely. Again, I told you, cutting out stuff is really hard for me. I don't know how to edit.
But Ari, who dives a lot, was thinking about it. And I was watching Potato Jet's video because he did one with both cameras. He took to Bali or somewhere where he was. And they said that for the Osmo, that if you dive down deep, there's actually a button.
It's 33 feet.
It's 33 feet. So it's like 6-ish. No, that's more than 6 meters. But that there's a button on the side which uses less pressure because as you go lower, the pressure gets bigger, and that top button wouldn't work. So you hit the other button, and when it gets into higher pressure. So they're all good. And what I actually liked about the Osmo 3 spec, there was a spec that said you can get the battery back up to 80% with like a 12-minute charge or something. Within like 12 or 13 minutes of charging, it will be back up to 80%. And that's a removable battery. So
and again, when it comes to these crazy action sports or diving or very niche sports, I would probably buy one of these if that was my thing. But I mean, how many people out there are doing that?
Yeah, not a lot. But if I still had to choose, I'd probably take a GoPro just for the name and for the long-standing.
I agree.
quality. But where the Osmo is winning is the fact that they want to charge $329 for it.
I saw
and
that.
GoPro is $499 unless you spend. You can get $100 off if you sign up for the GoPro subscription. But the thing is like if you have 5 cameras, they're forcing you to buy 5 subscriptions, which are $50 a year. So do they give you they give you? It's so confusing. And it's only if you buy it direct. So if you buy a GoPro, it's $499 by itself. If you buy a GoPro with their subscription service, it's $399. Well, so then it's $50 a year. Are they charging? Do you get a year included, or do they charge you $50 right off the rip? So now it's only $50 off, and then if you don't cancel it, they keep charging you year after year.
I don't know. I remember Google, when I first bought my Nest cameras, and I have multiple cameras around my property, they were charging $5 for each camera monthly for cloud service. And then they eventually now combined everything. So it's just one annual fee of like $120, I think, a year. And you can have as many unlimited cameras as you want. So I pay way less now than I was paying before. And that's something GoPro should do. You should be able to pretty much have a set annual fee, or at least the option of that, instead of paying per camera.
They may, I don't know, but I also think maybe their coverage comes with 2 replacements involved with it, so maybe it is worth it because they will replace your camera if it's broken or you break a screen or something. So maybe that's not that bad.
Although they always say the GoPros are pretty much like unbreakable.
The screen can break,
Yeah,
if you crash it.
I'm just thinking it's always in like a cage and housing and.
Yeah, what do you guys think? You can't let us know down below because we can't comment here. But what you can do is go over to iTunes and leave us a rating and a 5-star rating and a comment, or you can give us a rating on Spotify as well. Steven, who forgot to read one guy's comment, and that guy commented. Yeah, Steven screwed that up. Did you find his comment, Steven?
I did. So I now officially have access to the text line.
Did I miss anything in the text line now that you have
I don't
access?
know. There's so many texts that came through the past week. I can't even keep up. So I was searching up for Raw Talk, which, like you said before, it's very hard to find someone that texted specifically about Raw Talk. It's not a great system they have in terms of filtering out text messages. Anyway, I finally came across the one review that I forgot to read like the first week, and I apologize. Found1, I believe his name is Scott. He texted and said, Steven, forgot to read my damn review. He could have just scrolled down a little bit. I am now reading it for you, sir. This is on
don't read it. Skip it. Scotty doesn't know. Scotty doesn't know.
This was on August 19th. Highly recommended podcast. I'm cutting
Sorry.
all this out now.
Say it again.
It says, highly recommended podcast. Jared and Steven's reboot of Raw Talk is fantastic. They discuss a variety of topics across the photography world and are very entertaining. I love Jared's unfiltered views and Steven's, albeit unsuccessful, attempts to reel him back in. Great length for a commute at just over an hour for most episodes. I was disappointed when the original Raw Talk was stopped, so having the reboot is delightful. Head to episode 1, binge it for half a day, and get caught up. You won't be disappointed.
What a great comment, Scott. Congratulations.
That one's
you
for
win
you, Scott. That one's for you.
Nothing. No, I still get people, they're like, oh, I really love the original Raw Talk. I'm like, yeah, we liked it too. But this is what we like right now. This is working the way that we want it to work. It's a much lighter pull for us.
I mean, if you're going back to the original, like OG Raw Talk, that would take 3 to 4 days to produce, edit, export, all of that stuff. Man, that was such a process. And remember, we would set up in your kitchen and then break it all down and then have to do it the next week. I mean, that was a majority of the editing that I was working on at the time. And then we finally streamlined it once we moved to the Fro Factory, and that was great. But then
Steven, we could have been big. We could have been bought by Spotify.
We were big, man.
For $100 million.
We were.
I know. We were getting like 15
I had everything
to 20.
set up perfectly. Press a button,
we did.
record, done.
But we had to. Do you know why we killed it?
It also took up like a majority of the studio space, which was really rough.
Yeah, but do you know why we killed it? Other than the
Photo News
me
Fix?
not liking how I sounded.
That too.
No, it wasn't Photo News Fix. Do you know what it was?
What?
You had to get the presets done. It got to the point where I was like,
No, not when we were
it
streaming.
was taking
man.
away time.
Streaming, that only took away 1 day a week, if that.
I know, but then the editing and then other stuff, it just kept...
The issue was Fix, because we couldn't then use the clickbaity titles for Raw Talk. We had to save them for Fix, and then you were just getting fed up that we were just regurgitating the same stories on Raw Talk that we were talking about on Fix.
And I didn't like how I was acting.
It was a combination of everything, yeah.
Other co-hosts were acting, and that just led to the demise of wanting to do it. But now here we are.
Back at it.
Here we are.
It's just so much easier this way.
All right, so the biggest news story of the week for us is that we got the iPhone 14 Pro.
Yes.
Purple, deep purple. I got that on Friday. I had to go up to New York.
Shirt.
Yep, almost.
I
had to go up to New
York. Do you wear that shirt every day?
Steven, I've got so many of these shirts.
Do you have like 17 purple shirts? Because I think that's all you wear now, right? Purple?
I try to wear purple as much. I probably have about 10. I was just looking on the website today to order, see if my same ones are still here. Mm-hmm. So I'm going to order them again, and I'm going to get them. I'm going to get an extra another 15 to 20 purple shirts made, just so that I have enough of them.
Are these the tight Under Armour looking shirts?
Yes. Fresh A4 is the company's called A4. I'm going to order some sleeveless in Seattle as well.
Yes.
I like wearing
best shirts ever.
Anyway, back to the purple phone. We decided to test out the 48 megapixels of the main camera against two flagship cameras. You may have seen this video already, the A1 and the Z9. And if people are like, well, why didn't you use Canon? I bet you some people are like, oh, it's probably because the Canon didn't do as well against the iPhone. And
no, I was very close to bringing out the Canon. I had it all set up. We were going to do 3, and then last minute we just decided to nix the Canon because it's not the flagship. It's not a stack sensor. We can't say it's $6,000 camera like the other two.
Well, it doesn't matter.
And it was just harder to. We could only fit 2 on that one tripod. That was kind of the main reason.
It's about the rig. We have a rig where it's for 2.
Yeah.
We set up 2 heads, and we have 2 cameras, and then we had the iPhone camera in the middle with a Joby head. Do you know what that's called, that Joby thing?
It's just like a Joby phone clip head. I don't even know.
But it went into the hot shoe.
Yeah. Well, I made it go into the hot shoe. I put a cold shoe adapter on that.
I didn't know this, Steven.
Oh, yeah. I rigged that whole thing together we did that whole video, start to finish, even the planning that day, in not even one full day.
That's more than we normally do.
Same thing with editing. I mean, I got that done in under a full day the next day.
Yeah.
It was a very fast turnaround. I'm pretty happy with how it came out, too. And we legit got decent comparisons side by side, even though you messed up the Sony.
I did. I somehow must have knocked the Sony or something, but that was the whole point. The whole point of what we were doing was to show that what the iPhone can do with the 48 megapixel main sensor, which is a 24 millimeter lens. We put 24 millimeter lenses on the Canon, the Sony and the Nikon to show what you could do. And the findings were simple. In unbelievable daylight, shooting landscapes or inanimate objects,
the brightest day ever.
The iPhone is going to be great.
Of course.
Where it's going to be to the point where it's going to be very difficult unless you zoom into 400, 200% or more to actually see the imperfection differences. Now, I get people going, I would like to see the dynamic range, or I'd like to see the shadow recovery details. And my answer to that is why? Stop. Just fucking stop.
Well, keep in mind,
it's an iPhone, bro.
These are also 10-bit DNG RAW files. We're not dealing with 14-bit like the other two. So, of course, they're going to do better. It's more, can you kind of, from a blind test, tell the difference between all 3 cameras? If I put them side by side, could you really be like, that one's definitely the iPhone? And from far away, I mean, it's kind of hard to tell.
It's very difficult to tell. And the point wasn't to sit here and say that an iPhone is going to replace us.
Not at all.
You will not replace us. Like, the iPhone is not replacing us in many situations. But in the situations that we used it in yesterday, the outdoor light was great. That looked fine. The comparisons were great. The prints, you would never know what was what. And that's why I won't dive in deeper to say, like, someone was like, oh, how does it compare against a Samsung? I'm like, I don't care how it compares against the Samsung. Now, that type of video could maybe do really well if we compared the iPhone 14 Pro RAW to the Samsung whatever the hell S30, 20. I don't even know what Samsung phones are, but I don't care to test this stuff out. What we were trying to show was, they say you've got 48 megapixels RAW. Let's see how those files compare. Let's see how they look going against each other. We did an inside situation in the studio, not super low light, but the iPhone went up to 250 ISO, which is higher than what it normally would be at with the base, because we pumped in a little bit of light there. And then we did some portraits outside. And what we found was that for people, you're not going to be able to shoot 48 megapixels RAW for people unless it's full body, because the 12, where am I going with that? Oh yeah, because the lens is 24 millimeters.
It's just it's too wide, way too wide.
And if you go to the 2x one for portrait mode, it just looks a lot better, because that fake bokeh, even though it's fake bokeh, most people that look at it are going to be like, that's amazing. So anytime you show someone who knows nothing about photography 2 pictures, one with bokeh, one without bokeh, whether it's bokeh or not, they're like, wow, that's a great photo.
One's a snapshot, one's professional.
Right. And
that's what they'll think, yeah.
And I showcased that with the black and white from the bench of the 2 people sitting on it, that with portrait mode, it looks great. And with 48 megapixels RAW, it doesn't look great because the background is fully in focus.
And the 2x zoom, you're getting a 48 millimeter equivalent, which is not bad for a portrait. I mean, I would still prefer more like an 85, but you have the 3x as well.
It's not bad. The iPhone did well. Now, at the end of the day, I say this all the time, and I said it on Instagram yesterday, that it doesn't matter what camera you have. If you don't understand composition, framing, timing, you're not going to get the shot. So if you give me an iPhone and say, Jared, shoot a wedding, I'm going to crush the wedding. Is it going to be a little more difficult? Because when you're shooting 48 megapixels RAW, it's kind of like you take one picture and you have to wait at least a second till it saves it to then take another picture. Whereas I believe the Sony Xperia phones that are basically point and shoot cameras these days with
bigger
all
buffers.
the full on AI,
Yeah.
they just shoot. You could do
IAF.
20, 30 frames a second with those. But then again, I don't know if they do RAW. But I don't care about 48 megapixels. I just want it to shoot quick. But yeah, if you don't understand composition, you don't understand lighting, you don't understand angles, it doesn't matter what you shoot with. And for 99.999% of the people that have iPhones, they don't fucking care. They just want to take pictures. They want to take a better, cleaner dick pic. They want the 48 megapixels to make it look bigger, and that's all they want to do. They want to just do that. And so it's kind of tiring to hear photographers constantly rail like, oh, you can't shoot action with it. I'm like, you could, but you probably wouldn't. And no, it wouldn't be my first choice to take to a baseball game.
Well, at the end of the day, like you brought up just a minute ago, it does take a good, probably 5 seconds once you press the shutter button to take the picture.
It wasn't
definitely
that long.
more than 1 second.
No, to save. It was at least a second. I could do it right now, Steven.
It's a good amount, yeah.
You're a good amount. It's at least a second.
But I'm saying you're not shooting action like rapid fire.
Here, I'm going to take a picture.
And it's also about 80 megs a file, so it's going to take up a ton of memory on your phone, even though the phones these days, what do you have, a terabyte on that one?
3.5, Steven. Yes, I have a terabyte on here. It was about 3.5 seconds.
3.5 is a good amount of time to wait.
That's a lot of time in between taking one picture and the next picture.
We meant to bring that up, but we just forgot.
We did forget.
At first, too, I do wish that this was available in portrait mode or the 2x, 48 millimeter equivalent with a 48 megapixel sensor. But at the same time, I do kind of get why they made it the wider angle lens, just because of landscapes and stuff like that, where you're probably printing out more of that and you want to retain that high megapixel count opposed to somebody's
they're never
face.
Printing. They're never printing.
I know, but they're catering this towards photographers and professionals.
I guess. Actually, I don't think they are. Honestly, Steven, I don't think they are. I think their goal with promoting it, the photo features, is to make the everyday person think that they can take professional pictures.
Yeah, but I don't think the everyday person is going in and turning on Pro Raw 48 megapixel mode.
No. They're not, but they love the idea that their phone can do it. They love
it's marketing
the idea.
At the end of the day, yeah.
It's marketing. It's great marketing. Like, oh, this camera does this, and it automatically crops into the 2x for you.
I mean, until you use it in the real world and realize it takes 3.5 seconds, you have to turn on the mode, back into the camera. It's only on the 24 millimeter lens. Like, there is a lot of caveats and limitations with this.
Yep. But again, the majority of the people, I would say the vast majority of the people, they hear new camera, new phone. They don't care how it works, which kind of brings up, someone made a video recently. It brings it up, Steven. I got to bring it up. Sure. I should probably bring them on to defend it next week, which I may not be here next week until Wednesday.
Well, we usually don't film until Wednesday or Thursday anyway.
That's true, but the SLS they're filling it with hydrogen right now, and there was another leak. They're doing the test.
Of course, there's
test
another
filling.
leak.
But I think they may have fixed it, and it may have gone to the full fill. If they get approval, I'm going back down to Florida on Monday, which is Rosh Hashanah. Rosh Hashanah, or is it Yom Kippur? Rosh Hashanah or Yom Kippur? Let me check. Steven, don't give me that. You should know all the Jewish holidays. It's Rosh Hashanah. Rosh Hashanah is the new year where you eat apples and honey for a sweet new year. And then 10 days later is Yom Kippur, which is the most high holy Jewish day because you're supposed to fast. I don't fucking fast. I don't go to synagogue either.
You're not the best
Jew. I'm not a practicing Jew, Steven.
Yes.
I'm just a Jew, but not a practicing Jew. Hey, look at all these dancing Jews. That is really, those are the lyrics, right?
Of what?
To the song.
What
all
song?
These dancing Jews.
What are you singing?
That short guy who snorted cocaine. He did that song. He did all those hits. That guy.
I have no idea who you're talking
Can't
about.
remember his
or what
name.
song you're talking about.
Well, I'm going to hit Dancing Jews song. You ready? Everybody's yelling at their thing. Dancing Jews song. Oh, it's Bruno Mars. I didn't even need to bring it up. Oh, no. You know what comes up when you type in Dancing Jews song? The Hora. Oh, my God. That's funny. The song Marry You, Bruno Mars.
He says dancing Jews in it?
Yeah. Bruno Mars. Yeah. But isn't it funny how the Hora comes up? Marry You, misheard lyrics. Oh, shit.
I was going to say, he definitely does not say that.
Wait. Misheard lyrics, dancing Jews. Original lyrics, dancing Jews. What? Who dances Jews? He's saying Jews. There's no way, Steven.
Hold on, I'm looking this up.
That's like you saying the other day that you misheard some song. What song was that?
Oh, it was 369, damn you fine. I said 369, dandelion.
I'm like, what, Steven?
Like the
Dandelion?
weed.
No. It's called 369, damn you're fine.
When I was like 11 years old, that's what I wanted to hear. Not damn you fine. It says, misheard lyrics for Bruno Mars Marry You. Or is it this dancing Jew? Who cares, baby? I think I want to marry you. Where the original lyric says, or is it this dancing juice? Not Jews.
No, play it. Play it right now. Play it right now.
Is it the look in your eyes? Or is it this dancing Jews? Who cares, baby? I think I want to marry you.
But what is dancing juice? Alcohol?
I don't. When you were saying the dancing Jew song, I'm like, what are you? What?
I thought it was dancing Jews all these years.
Just like I thought damn you fine was dandelion.
No. The things you learn on Raw Talk, Steven. The things you learn on. I actually liked when you type in "dancing Jew song" and the Hora came up. That's kind of fun.
I mean, that makes more sense.
Hava,
Just saying.
Nagila Hava, Nagila Harish, I'm just making up the words because I don't know the word.
I figured.
You remember the Hora? You should have done the Hora at your wedding.
Yeah, that would make sense.
Yeah, but that
We
doesn't
should have
matter.
did it during the Catholic Mass.
Yeah, you should. I was at the Catholic. I was there. I was there at the Catholic Mass. I was looking at that hot girl to the left.
I was just at that exact church this past Saturday for my friend's wedding, who also got married there.
How'd it work out?
They got married.
Did they say I do?
They did.
Was your wife's cousin there?
No, she was not.
I was like, remember what I did? So this was there was this. I always like to look at women because I like women. Contrary to popular belief, Steven just basically made that joke without making it. But there was this girl that looked Jewish because she's Italian, but she looked Jewish.
Super Italian.
They look very the same. Jews
They do.
They dance. The dancing Jews. They look the same. So I didn't want to just turn my camera, the R3 that I had with the 8512 on it, to take her picture. So what I did is I made pretend that I was taking pictures of the people walking down the aisle to go to their seats, and then I locked in because IAF, and I took a picture. I'm like, oh, she's cute, Steven. Who's she? And she's like, she's married with kids.
You sent a picture of her to me, and I'm like, why did you take a picture of Nicole's cousin? And you're like, oh, because she's hot. I like her.
Because she's hot.
Is she
what's
Jewish?
wrong with... It was true. That's what I do during weddings. I'm like, and I mean, did you see that I went to? Yeah, I am. I went to Lululemon the other day with my friend Shelly because
was everything like $200 overpriced?
Oh, it is. She's buying a house and stuff. She just bought a house. She closed on another house today, and she wanted to just go look at some Bed Bath & Beyond. I had to go to the hockey place to get a new helmet. By the way, I got a new helmet and a visor because I got my ref crest. I'm going to start reffing again, and I wear rec specs.
Oh, you just
I know.
You
My
turned
hand
the
just
camera on.
activated. My hand just activated the camera to follow me. I see that. It just moved. But yeah, I wear rec specs underneath. So anyway, we go to the mall, Cherry Hill Mall, and there's a Lululemon store. So we go in there. They have a whole back room dedicated to yoga pants of all colors. I posted this on Instagram.
I saw it.
I walk
I
into
liked
the
it.
room. I walk into the room and I look to the left, and I think that is a great mannequin ass wearing purple, like a nice color purple yoga pants. And I'm like, that's a great ass.
Was it a mold of your ass?
No, it was a real person. It was actually someone who worked there. So good thing I didn't walk up and fucking smack it
With your
thinking
paddle?
it was fake. Dude, it turns out I was overhearing her talk to the other employee, and she's like, I was class of 2020. I was like, wait, so you're 20. Okay, that's okay. That's okay. 2020, class
Are
of 2020.
we talking about high school or college?
Doesn't matter. 2020, Steven. She's at least 20.
At least 18.
Yeah, at least 18. But I saw this perfect ass, and I literally thought it was a mannequin. I love yoga pants. I mean, yoga pants.
Who doesn't?
I love on the right people. I'm just gonna say it, on the right people, not the wrong people. And even guys. I've pointed out guys to people.
fat shaming.
I'm like, look at that guy. Am I fat shaming right now? Yes, Steven. Yes,
You are.
I am. Do you want to know what I said in Raw Talk? Sorry, I always do this. In Photo News Fix yesterday, that's not out when we're recording this, but is coming out.
I read the script. I know what you said.
Isn't that funny? Do you think that was funny, Steven?
As I'm reading it, I'm like, I bet you Jared thinks this is hilarious. The funniest joke ever.
Yeah, what is the joke again?
It was something about butt stuff or
butthurt.
Butthurt.
I was like, can I say butthurt anymore? And I'm like, I better Google this to see if I could say butthurt, because I always thought butthurt meant something else.
I
It was
did
like
too.
another term.
I also thought that until I read the script.
So I Googled it, and it's like butthurt. Butthurt is to describe someone who had pain inflicted on them.
Get smacked with a paddle during pickleball.
Yeah, generally, yes, good one. Generally, kids getting their butt smacked are butt hurt. I'm like, oh, okay, I could use this now because that's what it means. Did we talk about burying the hatchet last week?
I talked to you on the phone about that.
Oh, that was
I don't
off
think
air?
yeah.
Ooh. So I've been coming up with these things because I was thinking of burying the hatchet, and I think I was talking to someone. I was talking to a friend. I was at sushi, and I'm like, every once in a while you got to bury the hatchet with someone. And I'm like, wait, can I say bury the hatchet anymore? And so I Googled bury the hatchet and came up on some indigenous website where they tried to say that you shouldn't be saying bury the hatchet. But when I read the definition of bury the hatchet, I was like, there's absolutely nothing wrong with that. That's derogatory to say, because the definition, and I'm summarizing here because I don't have it in front of me, said that to bury the hatchet was when two tribal leaders either disperse of all of their weapons or jointly bury them in a pit together, thus burying the hatchet and causing a truce.
It's a
so
piece,
I'm like, that's not a derogatory a derogatory statement. The other thing that they used to say about people, where you give someone something and then you take it back, you can't use that term anymore. That's a terrible term. Now, that was a terrible term all along and should have never been used, because it's not like the Indians gave us the land and then tried to take it back. It's their land. They were here first.
I agree.
Indigenous people. Like, come on now. It's just terrible how history is. Though we sit crisscross applesauce now. Did you? And I'm okay with that. I wasn't okay with crisscross apples. Steven is sitting there going, I'm not going to say anything because I don't want to get canceled.
We start these conversations.
Because we were talking about we were talking about going.
It's like what we talk about on the phone, but like cranked up to 11.
Well, because that comment last week said that Jared doesn't stay on topic. So
yes,
I'm working.
I try to keep you on topic, but then you don't stop talking about that
topic.
I
went to yoga
for
pants.
10 minutes.
I know. All right, you want me to keep moving on?
Yoga pants, and now all of a sudden to bury the hatchet in these indigenous terms and.
But you now learned something. Butthurt is okay. Bury the hatchet, in my opinion, is okay. Bleep is not okay.
So much editing on this episode.
That was funny, Steven.
That was funny.
For anybody that's wondering if Steven does put the beep in, literally I just said beep. I didn't actually say a word because that would be the dumbest thing ever.
Yeah, that was zero editing right there. Anyway,
back to the camera, back to the iPhone. We were still on that,
I
right?
think we're pretty much wrapped up with the iPhone.
Oh, I remember where I was going. I was going to talk about Tony Northrup's video about the iPhone 14, where he talked about it being misleading before it came out. Like, it got almost 400,000 views. It was really good clickbait.
Yeah.
It did really well. I'm not really sure. It's hard because I can't sit through 22 minutes of a video or even at 2x speed, making it 11 minutes. I just was like, you lost me.
ADHD.
Yeah, well, I try not to go into the details too much, so I'm not sure whether you were saying that the camera is 48 megapixels or it isn't 48 megapixels or it's 12 but it grows to 48 or it's only
I took it that he was saying essentially it's a 48 megapixel sensor, but most people will not be using it because it's limiting to the 24 millimeter focal length and it defaults to 12 megapixels, and people are really just getting 12 megapixels unless they go in that special mode and turn on ProRAW in the back.
So was that the misleading statement that Apple made then?
I don't know.
Is that what he was getting at?
I don't know.
I guess I could see that being maybe misleading. The fact that, I was surprised when I started to shoot the camera. I'm like, wait a second, which camera is 48 megapixels? I'm like, oh, it's just the main camera.
It took a minute for me to realize that it was only the 24 millimeter lens as well. Yeah.
Anyway, you want to move on to the next topic?
Yes, sir.
This is interesting. Because, we're pretty hard on petapixel. Quite often pretty hard on petapixel.
You only say positive things about them.
Yeah, but they posted an article. The article, which I'm not sure that Petapixel is the first to do the article. Jaron Schneider, who's the editor-in-chief of Petapixel, wrote the Nikon looks to be rehousing Tamron lenses for its mirrorless cameras. This has been on Nikon Rumors and other websites before, but he did a pretty interesting article that puts the optics next to each other, puts the lenses next to each other.
The optical formula for the new lens is almost identical to their version of the 17 to 28.
Right, and the MFT charts are exactly the same.
Identical, yeah.
Which is interesting, because I was like, at first...
And on top of that, Nikon just partnered with Tamron, giving them access to the Z-mount via licensing fee, basically.
Right, and Nikon already released a 28 to 75 2.8. This is a 17 to 28. 28 2.8, and then in their new roadmap that they just announced, there's a 70 to 180.
And who else has that? Tamron.
Exactly.
Same exact focal length, same exact everything.
And so it seems like
notice, sorry to cut you off again, but they're not calling it an S version lens, which pretty much every other lens they put out for the Z mount is considered an S lens. Is it because it's Tamron's formula?
That's interesting. It's crazy that a 2.8 is not an S. Everything else was an S. Well, actually,
why is this not an S, but then the 14 to 30 is an S?
Oh, it is?
It's very similar price range. It's $150 more for the 14 to 30, and that's an S. Does that have
I still rather take the 14
glass?
to 30. I still rather take it.
I'd take it all day. I'd rather
even
have
though it's an f4.
I don't care when you're shooting that wide.
That's what I'm saying. But you have the range of 14 to 30. It's a nice range. But
only downside is that the 14 to 30, your favorite topic ever, has 7 aperture blades versus 9. But again, you're not really getting much bokeh anyway when you're shooting ultra wide like that.
No. Not at all. So I started to think about this. I'm like, if this is legitimate, is this a big deal or not a big deal? And what I came up with was, look, if this is what Nikon needed to do to get out more affordable lens options and get them out quicker than they could develop them themselves, then maybe this isn't a bad thing. And through my talking with other people in the industry that have more knowledge for longer amounts of times with different lens companies, said that Tamron OEMs products for other companies as well. So they make lenses for other people that slap their names on it that just doesn't say Tamron.
Yeah.
So that's kind of interesting.
And the outside of the lens is very Nikon-like. So is it just the optical formula that they're getting, and then the actual housing is Nikon designed, like some kind of partnership?
Well, it looks like the housing's different, but everything else is the same.
Yep.
And
I'm curious what the patent looks like. Is it a Tamron patent? Is it a Nikon patent?
I don't think there's a patent. I don't think they... Well, that's a
for
good
every
question.
lens, usually there's some kind of patent.
Yeah, that's a good question. The thing is though that it's a couple $100 more than what the Tamron version would have been.
Yep.
The Tamron version's like $800 on sale for the 17 to 28 and $900 normally, where this is $1,200, so it's a $300 difference.
But I'm curious, is that an agreement between the two, a secret agreement saying, Tamron saying, hey, we can make this lens for you, but you got to charge a little more. So eventually when we come out with our version for the Z mount, we can charge a little less, consider it a Tamron lens, and still have, hope to get people to buy that lens over your lens.
But I don't think they're going to come out with that at this point. If there's an agreement that they're working towards, then they'll just take the extra $100 or whatever per lens or the licensing fee.
True.
Like it was maybe a trade. Like you guys do this, you scratch my back, Jules, and I scratch yours.
Funny thing about my
back. It's just like it might be something along those lines. I don't have a problem with Nikon doing this, but this is also like telling those people that were yelling at Canon last couple weeks, like, oh, Canon, open up your mount, blah, blah, blah. Canon has produced other less expensive lenses, and I still don't think it's going to hurt Canon at all. But they are going to open up. They will open up that mount at some point to Tamron and to Sigma. They're just figuring out what they want to do. That's my opinion. I don't think they're just going to say no forever.
And I don't really think Canon has like an in-betweener type lens like this one, where it's like $1,000 versus their Pro line that's $2,400 plus. Canon's either like super cheap, like $200-$300, or nearly $3,000 for their L lenses.
I'm a big fan of 2.8s any way you can slice it. Like back in the day when I was selling cameras at Allen's, I would sell the shit out of the Sigma 17 to 50 2.8 because it was a $399 lens. And I've said it before, I would put it on people's cameras after they had a kit 18 to 55 on there, and all they noticed was how much brighter it was. That was the selling point. I didn't even have to sell it. I'm like, look, just look at how much brighter it is. You're going to gather more light. You're going to keep your ISO down, which means you're going to get better pictures, even when you don't know what you're doing.
Now, the 28 to 75, I would probably still prefer a 2.8 over an f4. But again, when you're ultra wide from 17 to say 14 and the 14 to 30, it doesn't really matter. And especially the high ISO capabilities of cameras these days, if I'm losing a little bit of light, whatever, I bump it up an extra stop or half a stop, whatever it may be.
Right, today.
But so for this, I still scratch my head and say, do I get a 14 to 30 or do I get this new 17 to 28? I'm 14 to 30, I think, all day.
I think it's more versatile.
It is.
But these 2.8, these two lenses, and soon to be the Trinity, because I can only assume that the 17 to 180 will be a 2.8 as well.
Yeah.
For less money than a 24 to 70 2.8 Nikon Z, you can have the 17 to 28 and the 28 to 75 2.8. They're 2.8s, and that's a great range. Once you go 2.8, like maybe they're not as perfect or as fast focusing or whatever as the higher end Z lenses, but for if people, all I care about is someone understands the importance of better glass, and the sooner they get into better glass, the sooner they realize what photography is all about.
This to me is why the Sony system is so enticing to a entry-level beginner photographer that wants to get into that somewhat professional realm of full-frame cameras, because you can buy this Tamron Trinity for the E-mount, and it's literally going to be all three of them together combined less expensive than one G-Master lens, like a 24 to 70, for example.
That is correct.
You can't beat it. I mean, yeah, they're not probably going to be optically as good, but it's going to be close enough. And they're light, they're small.
But let's get into that again. It's the same thing when we talk about the iPhone. Sometimes it's good enough. And sometimes, even if you use a shitty lens, if you got the picture, no one's going to be there, oh, there's imperfections around this subject, that you got the best picture ever, but there's imperfections. It doesn't matter. The best picture is the best picture is the best picture. Yes, I still want to use the best gear possible if I have the opportunity to do so. But no, if I don't have the best gear possible, I'm still going to get results. Even going out and shooting with that Tamron 50 to 400 the other week, the photos look really good. So all that matters at the end of the day is, are the final keeper
Did you
images,
get the shot?
Are they good storytelling images?
Yep.
That's all that matters. Because no one, without any of the graphics on the screen, without knowing what lens and what camera, what focal length and what aperture, no one's going to know. They'll never know, Steven.
And back to the iPhone discussion with the 48 megapixel sensor, when you're saying no one's going to know, we really didn't know until we zoomed in like 800% on the art museum, where then you could tell the loss in detail, more of that weird compression artifacting going on. But I mean, you're cropping in how much at that point?
We could tell around 200% that there was a little bit of a difference.
But we had to look for it, I feel like.
Yeah, then you had to really go in deep. So, like I said, I'm not going to be super anal about what Apple's doing with that stuff.
Agreed.
Since we're talking about Nikon, there was last week a leaked roadmap that now has since been debunked as a fake roadmap, which also brings up that someone made a video about this and still put the video out, even though it was debunked before they put the video out. That's a tough one. Putting out the video, even though you know that it was debunked, that's a tough one because, one, from a content creator standpoint, we've had situations where we've made content and I've had to go back and update that video before we posted it, or take something out. And I'll just let you in on a little secret, some inside baseball. I had Dan take out of the script me saying, well, I wonder how much the Tamron lenses are going to be for Nikon if they come out with their own 28-75, when I started to realize from reading all these other articles that these are just Tamron lenses.
Yeah.
So without being able to go into a lot more detail, I had Dan just cut that one sentence out. That was the right thing to do, instead of going into the comment section and saying, well, this was posted, but I'm still going to post the video anyway. The roadmap was not legitimate, but it listed the Z9, the Z8, a Z90, a Z73, Z63,
Z52, ZF.
Right, it listed a lot of stuff, but
I thought the giveaway when it was initially posted or quote unquote leaked last week was that the Z7 and the Z6 III said September of 2022.
Right.
I mean,
right. We haven't heard anything.
It's the end of September at this point, and we haven't heard anything, so I don't think that's happening.
Yeah, no. That also brings up another thing from Nikon Rumors, where the Nikon Rumors guy gets super, super like defensive about his rumors. Basically, he was like, I debunked this, and last week I said that this isn't from a verified source and it couldn't be true, but everybody's still racing to put video or content out to be the first to say this when I was the first. It's like,
but you're doing the same thing, dude.
You're taking stolen information.
You're racing to put this out first, too, without having any credibility.
So I always find it funny when that happens. I always find it funny when the Nikon Rumors guy gets upset that other people start reporting on rumors as if he's like the God's gift to rumors, and that no one should say anything because he's getting stolen and leaked information. We'll do it all day. We'll take that information and we'll repost it and reshare it and give our opinions on it, because why not? Thank you for doing all that work, Nikon Rumors guy. Thank you. Thank you, Sony Alpha Rumors guy. Thank you.
Today's wild rumor.
Thank you, Nikon Canon.
If it's false, don't come back to me complaining.
Yeah. I'm not really sure about this. I think Sony's going to put out a new camera, Steven.
Oh. Crazy.
I think Sony's going to put out a new camera, Steven.
Yes.
I really do. Yes. I think they're going to put a new one out. I don't know when, but something tells me they have a new camera coming.
The next 3-4 years, I don't know. I think a new camera's going to come out. Wild rumor, but just throwing it out there.
Breaking news. This just in. There's going to be a new lens.
Crazy.
New lens. You heard it here first.
It's coming out at some point.
You heard it here first.
Don't know what it is.
It could be in the next 6 months.
It could be the next 6 years.
Give or take. Give or take. Everyone's like, why are you so harsh on Sony Alpha Rumors? Because the guy just makes shit up. And it's even funnier when he tried to make YouTube videos. Is he still making YouTube videos?
I'm not sure. I mean,
he should have been making YouTube videos, because you know who should make YouTube videos, or who hasn't, who really needs to make YouTube videos to see how difficult it is to do? Petapixel. Yeah. If Petapixel wants to get into the game and go somewhere, you should probably try making some YouTube videos to see if you can do it.
I don't think we've talked about this before, Jared.
I don't think we've talked about this before, Steven. But Petapixel should make some videos, because they should get into the modern times.
And hey, also back to the rumor sites like Canon Rumors, Nikon Rumors, both of them, for the most part, usually vet out who sends them information and post what is a kind of a credible rumor or source or whatever. But I just feel like Sony Alpha just throws darts at the board, and it's like, oh, we just got a random wild rumor. We're going to post it. Who cares?
You know what else they
Could
do?
be totally wrong, but
They keep pushing Topaz Labs. It's like, guys, this is clearly a sponsored post. Can you please call it a sponsored post? Speaking of sponsored posts, Steven, I was reading through Petapixel the other day because I always, look for news stories and I check like 5 to 10 different photo. I'm not waving at you, camera.
anytime Jared puts his hand up, the camera thinks he's doing a gesture and then moves.
Yeah, the Insta360 link that they gave us because they sponsor us
cool
for some
webcam.
stuff. Right, so I was reading Petapixel and I came up on the Datacolor color checker article. Now, I knew before going into this was most likely sponsored because Datacolor sponsors us for Raw Talk. We did it for Photo News Fix. We did
Every
that last
time.
week where they sponsored. But clearly, when we say this fix is brought to you by Datacolor and the color checker, go check it out. It's $99 on datacolor.com/pro.
Check it out.
You know that's a sponsored thing. So when I saw Petapixel have an article, I opened it up and I started reading, and of course, not till the second paragraph do they let on to the fact that it's a paid article.
Usually it's the last paragraph.
Well, it used to be, but come on. It should be right up front when you click on the article. This editorial or advertorial is brought to you by Datacolor.
And it's the same thing with videos. It should be right up front and not at the end because it also hurts, I think, the sponsor because people are tuning out at that point.
Right. So I just like, taking digs right there. That's what I do.
But you love
I like to hammer
Petapixel,
that home.
Jared.
So what? You wanted to come back to the rumor
Oh, yeah.
sites?
Back to the rumor stuff. The thing is, it could be very dangerous to a company when you get the hype train going about a random rumor of like a Z8, which who knows, it might not exist at all, and people are making up these wild specs and rumors, and then when it actually gets launched, it could be really bad for the company because they might not be able to be up to par with those rumored specs, and then people are disappointed because they had this whole vision of the best camera ever made coming out, and it might not be. And that's for any company. I was just using Z8 as an example, but
I stopped at B&H the other day on Friday when I went up to Apple to get my phone from them, and I stopped at B&H on the way out, and I was up by the Nikon thing, and somebody was asking about, should I wait for a Z8? Have you heard anything? And like the person behind the counter was like, well, the latest rumors are saying sometime in March. It's like, what? I sat there and I was like, where are you guys coming up with this stuff? Don't tell anybody, well, the rumors are saying. Like, why would you even go there as a salesperson?
this was an employee.
Yeah.
Oh, wow.
It was Moishi.
This is a real B&H story.
This is real B&H story. Steph Mantis likes to play with toys.
I haven't seen the ads in a minute.
Guess who's going to do some Photo News Fix ads again, or for the first time?
I don't know if they're doing it for the first time. How would I know?
B&H.
Oh, okay.
They want us to do a Payboo plug.
Yes. I wish I was in the room when they came up with Payboo.
It's insane how they make it work. You get the credit card, the B&H credit card called Payboo.
I don't know how it's actually legal, but it's awesome.
So, well, it's legal. I'll tell you why it's legal in a minute. Basically, what happened is a bunch of years ago, through like Amazon and all purchases online started to get taxed for wherever you live. So I pay Philly tax even though I'm buying it on Amazon. The way to get around tax used to be you would buy it online.
Yep.
Well, when everybody instituted it, B&H was like, we have an idea. So they came out with Payboo, and Payboo, low on cash.
Call up your pimp.
Call your
Payboo.
pimp. Anyway, you use your Payboo card, so it's a credit card with a very high interest rate, by the way, so make sure you pay it off right away. But what happens is if you use the Payboo card, B&H pays the tax. So if you're dropping 10 grand on something and it's normally 10% tax in New York or 8 or 9% in Philly. I think it's 8% in Philly. You're saving $800+ on that 10,000, and they pay it. They legitimately pay it. That's why it's not illegal, because the government doesn't care who pays it as long as it's getting paid. So somehow they've worked it that they're able to pay the money. They're paying the tax. That's all that matters.
Oh, I know the
you get
taxes
the
are
discount.
definitely getting paid. I'm just surprised they're offering to pay for it.
But that's their competitive advantage. They were able. So if they don't lose money but break even on having the Payboo, right? Because the credit card company gets paid. They switched services, I think, but the credit card company either pays them a percentage of the profits or whatnot, or maybe it's just so valuable to get that 10% more sales are made because of Paybu than otherwise, which means they're making more profits on selling products.
Yeah, it makes
They
sense.
know the
yeah.
numbers. It's all numbers.
Yeah.
Speaking of numbers,
I just still don't know how the name Paybu became a thing. That's all.
well, I have to come up with a new. I think we're still going to do the Paybu pimp, but I was
Yes.
also thinking of doing a different Paybu person for New York City. Maybe wearing my rainbow shirt,
Not Leisure Coat Larry.
not leisure coat Jared, leisure suit. It was leisure suit Jared.
That's it,
No,
yeah.
I was thinking of wearing the rainbow Jared and doing it as what's his name?
Richard Simmons?
Yeah. Hi guys, Paybu.
Oh, man.
Here we go, Paybu.
I mean, Richard Simmons kind of had like a mini afro, didn't he?
He did.
Yeah, there you go.
He did. Okay, everybody, we're gonna sweat to the oldies
He had
in
way
3,
bigger muscles than
2,
you,
1. He never had bigger muscles than me. Gary,
Way taller. Definitely way taller.
Gary.
That's my favorite when people meet you. They're like, man, you seem a little shorter in real life.
Yeah. First thing people say to me,
Low
"Oh,
angles,
oh,
people, low angles.
You look taller in your videos. Thanks."
You remember when I first started filming with you, everything had to be like 2 feet lower tripod wise when we would film you. So
Yeah.
you had this epic hero shot.
Yeah. Tom Cruise, man. Tom Cruise.
Exactly, Tom Cruise.
Tom Cruise, get out of the closet, Tom.
Tom, come out of the closet.
Number 313-710-9729. That's where you can send the texts. I mean, you could send them and put Steven's name in there because he now has access to it.
Just an FYI, the spelling is Stephen, but you can also just
Stefan.
say Steve, Steve, and
Stefan?
I can search for that, and I can find them.
Okay. And then make sure if there's something I should read that somehow you let me know. Put it in like a Jared folder or something.
Can we do that?
Yeah, you can segment shit, but it's kind of weird. Now, just tell me about it.
It's not the best filtration system when
That
it
I
comes
pay
to
$150 a month
Yeah,
for.
that's crazy.
Yeah.
And it says you get up to 2 team members, but I couldn't find a way to add me as an official team member without being logged into your account.
I could send them a message because I couldn't find it on the inside of mine either.
Yeah.
All right, guys. We appreciate you listening to Raw Talk episode number 17. Go hashtag Raw Talk episode 17, the greatest thing since sliced bread ever,
Best
period.
thing ever.
Since sliced bread, period, somewhere. We thank you guys for all of the extra comments that you put on the videos. You
guys rock.
The stuff that you do on the what's the thing called? iTunes and all of that stuff. And we appreciate you guys listening because we keep adding downloads each week. It's getting bigger and bigger each week. A couple hundred extra downloads in the first 7 days.
Yeah, it's great.
It all adds up. We just hope you keep coming back for more because this is Raw Talk, where we talk about whatever the hell we want to talk about with a little taste of photography in there and other stuff as well.
10% photography, 90% random shit.
On that note, I'm going to sign off. You're Steven. I'm Jared.
I am.
Jared Poland, FronosPhoto.com. See ya. Bye. Stop it, Steven. I'm saying bye. Goodbye.